Good morning. I'm Onisa Klein here at the GBTA broadcast studio, and joining me today is David Chappell, who is the Chief Product Officer from TripStax. And he came in all the way from London. David, good morning and welcome.
Morning.
How are you?
Not too bad, thank you. Not too bad.
Good.
Enjoying the show.
Oh, excellent. I'm glad to hear that. Hopefully it's been a good show for you guys.
Yeah,
and
really busy. It's been great.
Good. A lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm. I think there's a good vibe going on here.
Very much so.
Well, first off, tell us a little bit about TripStax. Who's TripStax? What do you guys do?
Okay, well, TripStax is a travel technology systems provider. So we provide systems into travel management companies or into large corporates who might have a corporate travel department. We have a thing called the core, which is our data warehouse. And around that, we have a whole series of systems and processes and sort of technological magic, if you like, that makes all of that data really lovely and uniform. And then we put that into a series of different modules, ranging from things like tracking modules to analytics. We have a profile tool, so traveler profiling tool. In fact, we have 10 modules in all, and it all stands on that same database.
Okay, and I understand you guys are celebrating their second anniversary, is that right?
That's right, yeah, just gone past.
Great,
Absolutely.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
So you all recently announced some interesting trends, again, to coincide with the anniversary, regarding the increase in demand from clients for carbon data reporting. That's the trend that you're seeing, right? What's driving that trend? Maybe talk a little bit about that.
Well, I think it's a number of different things that's driving the trend. There's obviously market demand itself, so the overarching market understanding sustainability better and wanting to do better to be able to report. I think that drives more engagement with it. We see significant uptick in terms of the number of calls that we make on the APIs across the different providers that we use to be able to enrich carbon data. So we do it in a number of different ways. That database that I was talking about can talk to other databases and get information in based on what systems, what kind of things we're looking at, what we need to have. So from carbon point of view, it's a number of different things. I think it's overarching industry awareness. I think we see, obviously we're a growing business, so we see more bookings in our core anyway. So we see a bigger number there. But over and above that, of the customers that are working with us, we see much greater engagement with carbon and the desire to have uniform, well-calculated, well-formed carbon emissions numbers.
So why is it so important for corporates to have all their carbon data consolidated in one place?
Well, it comes down to the way that you calculate it. So there's 4 or 5, maybe 6 different ways of calculating what a carbon emission is for a given thing. And if there are different calculations in different markets, then that can make your reporting quite inconsistent. So having it all centralized, so if you think of it's a bit like a bicycle wheel, sort of hub and spoke, so all that information coming into the center of the wheel, and from there we then ask the question once to a single provider at the customer's choice. It could be one of many number of providers that we connect to, but because we do it that way, it means that you have consistent reporting across all of the spend regardless of where you're buying it, and that's really, really important to be able to then offset correctly.
Gotcha. So that's why you're able to do it, right?
Absolutely, yeah, and that's why we see the demand for it.
Excellent. So I understand you've partnered with Thrust Carbon.
Yep.
And how are you guys working together to help companies meet their needs?
So we've been partnered with Thrust for a little while now. Mark and the guys and gals do a great job in terms of calculating emissions. We work with our API with them. So anybody that gives us information from any source of information, so that could be, it could range from an API right the way down to a flat file of booking data. We can put that into our core, and then we can call over to Thrust Carbon on the API, ask them the question, how much carbon for this thing, and they will go this amount, give it back to us on the API, and then we can then put that into the data set that sits around that booking. And the great thing with that is that it's then available in any of the modules that we use, but it's also then available to any of the connected partners that we might be able to push to. So it's a very neat way of doing it, and again goes back to that idea of single point of definition, single point of ask, which gives you this nice consistent reporting.
Excellent.
It's quite a powerful tool.
Well, David, it sounds like you guys have a lot going on in this space.
Always.
And this is, sustainability is such a hot topic here at convention.
Absolutely.
So it's really critical and key. So it's an important piece.
I couldn't agree more. I think it's a responsibility as much as anything.
Absolutely.
Right? As an industry, we fundamentally trade in one of the largest producers of carbon by industry. If you take away heavy industry and you look at sort of things that people are buying as such as opposed to manufacturing, I think it's incumbent upon all of us to try and make these connections and make sustainability, the calculations, and all of the things that go around that as accessible as possible.
Right.
If you make it easy and you make it relevant, people will buy it. And that's the same with carbon. If you make it easy for people to be able to get to the calculations, to be able to then go and offset and do what they need to do to feel warm and fuzzy about the environment, because ultimately aircraft are still going to produce carbon for quite some time. I think it's incumbent upon all of us working on the technology side to try and enable that part of the industry.
I agree. It's a community, right?
Yeah,
Community
absolutely.
effort. You can't do it on your own. You need everybody to work together
Absolutely.
to make it happen.
And that's very much the way we architect at TripStax. We're a very open platform. We may have lots of different ways of presenting information, but if we have a partner who wants to use a particular provider, like an analytics engine, for example, we will simply connect to that analytics engine and give them good data. They don't have to use our system. So there's lots of, it's a very nice modular architecture and trying to be as collaborative as possible. So I think it's important in the new world as we move forward with all of the travel technology.
David, thank you so much
Pleasure.
for sharing your insight and perspective. I hope you have a great rest of the day and enjoy the rest of the convention.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Monisa Klein here at the GBTA Broadcast Studio.